On a bitter winter morning in a small-town garage, a young mechanic with a limp walked in, silently enduring the jeers of his coworkers. All he wanted was to work hard and earn enough to buy medicine for his mother. Then, out of nowhere, a drenched man burst through the door, his car dead, his voice trembling with desperation. No one moved. No one cared. Until the young mechanic stepped forward, fixed the car for free, and lost his job because of it. But the next morning, an unexpected email arrived, revealing a truth that would change his life forever. Before we continue, tell us what time it is and where you're watching from, subscribe and hype, because tomorrow I've got something extra special for you. The morning shift at Hamilton Auto Works started the same way it always did, with the metallic clang of tools hitting concrete and the sharp smell of oil mixing with coffee from the break room. Eli Carter arrived at 6:45, 15 minutes early like always, his right leg dragging slightly as he made his way through the side entrance. 22 years old, and he'd been working here for 3 years. Long enough to know every sound the garage made, every crack in the floor, every stain on the walls. Long enough to know exactly where he stood. The accident had happened when he was 7. A drunk driver ran a red light while Eli was crossing the street with his mother. She pulled him back just in time to save his life, but not fast enough to save his leg. The doctors did what they could, physical therapy helped, but the limp never went away, and neither did the pain on cold mornings or after long shifts. He moved slower than the other mechanics. His hands were just as skilled, maybe more so, but getting down under a car took him twice as long. Getting back up took even longer. Morning Limpy called out Jake from across the shop floor. He said it with a grin, like it was just a nickname, just a joke between coworkers. Eli nodded back. Morning he'd learned not to react, learned that saying something would only make it worse, make them think he was sensitive, couldn't take a joke. So he said nothing, just pulled on his work gloves and checked the job board. 2 oil changes, 1 brake job, 1 diagnostic, all assigned to other mechanics. Carter, a voice called from the office doorway. Martha Klein, branch manager, mid-40s, always dressed like she was about to meet with corporate. She motioned him over with one finger. He limped across the garage floor, aware of the eyes following him. Martha didn't look up from her clipboard. "We've got a fleet inspection coming in this afternoon. I need you to prep the alignment bay, clean it, organize the tools, make sure everything looks professional." "I can handle one of the diagnostics," Eli said quietly. "I finished yesterday's work early." "The alignment bay, Carter." She finally looked at him, her smile tight and practiced. "We all have our roles here. Yours is important too." He knew what she meant. She'd said it before, in different ways. During the company diversity meeting last month, she'd actually put her hand on his shoulder and told the visiting executives, "We believe in giving opportunities to everyone." Eli here is proof of that. Like he was a charity case, like his presence made them look good. "Yes ma'am," he said. As he turned to leave, he heard her voice drop to a murmur, talking to Lisa at the front desk. He wasn't supposed to hear. But the acoustics in the garage carried everything. "We need him for the optics, you know. Corporate loves that we're inclusive. But between you and me, we can't put him on anything time sensitive." Lisa's response was too quiet to hear, but Martha's laugh was clear enough. Eli kept walking. He grabbed a broom and a rag and headed to the alignment bay. His leg throbbed with each step. The work was mindless: sweep the floor, wipe down the equipment, organize the tools by size. It was the kind of work they gave to new hires on their first day, not to someone who'd been here for 3 years, who'd studied automotive technology at community college, who knew engine systems better than half the guys out on the floor. But this was the deal. This was the price. Through the bay window, he could see the other mechanics working. Travis was under a BMW, headphones in, taking his time. Marcus was talking to a customer, explaining something about transmission fluid with the easy confidence of someone who knew he belonged there. Jake was in the pit, probably scrolling through his phone. They were younger than Eli, hired after him. They made more per hour. They got the complex jobs, the ones that paid commission. He didn't hate them for it. Not really. They were just doing their jobs, just living their lives. It wasn't their fault the world worked this way. "Hey Carter," Travis called out during the lunch break. "You gonna eat that sandwich or just stare at it?" Eli looked down, His lunch peanut butter and jelly on white bread, same as always, sat untouched in his lap. He was sitting on the curb outside, away from the break room where everyone else gathered. Just thinking, he said. About what? How to walk faster. Jake laughed at his own joke. A few others joined in. Eli took a bite of his sandwich, chewed, swallowed. Travis seemed to realize the joke had gone too far. Hey man, we're just messing with you. You know that, right? Yeah, Eli said. I know, but he also knew that every joke had truth in it. Every laugh reminded him that he was different, slower, less, that they saw him as someone to pity or mock, never as an equal. He finished his lunch in silence, watching the cars pass by on the street. Yellow cabs, delivery trucks, business people in their sedans rushing to wherever they needed to be. Everyone moving fast, going somewhere important. His phone buzzed, a text from his mother. How's work, baby? Don't forget to eat. He typed back quickly. Work's good, mama. Just had lunch. How are you feeling? The reply came a minute later. Good day today. The new medicine is helping. Don't worry about me. But he did worry. She lived 4 hours upstate in their small hometown, in the house where he'd grown up. She had arthritis now, bad enough that she couldn't work anymore. The medicine she mentioned cost $200 a month. Even with insurance, her Social Security barely covered rent and utilities. Everything else, the medicine, the groceries, the repairs when something broke, that was on him. That's why he stayed at Hamilton Auto Works. He sent money home every other Friday, $300 when he could manage it, $250 when the month was tight. It wasn't much, but it was everything. Carter, break's over, Martha's voice cut through his thoughts. He stood up, his legs stiff from sitting, and limped back inside. The afternoon was more of the same. Cleaning, organizing, staying out of the way while the real mechanics did the real work. He told himself it was fine, that having a job at all was something to be grateful for, that plenty of people had it worse. But sometimes, late at night in his room, he let himself imagine something different. A garage of his own. Small maybe, just 2 or 3 bays. A place where he could work at his own pace, where he could hire people who actually needed a chance, not for optics, but because everyone deserved to earn a living with dignity. He'd even picked out a name, Carter's Auto, simple, honest. But it was just a dream. He had $4,000 saved up, tucked away in a savings account that earned almost nothing in interest. To open even a small garage, he'd need at least $50,000 for equipment, rent, insurance, permits. It would take him years, maybe decades, maybe never. Hey Eli. He looked up. Marcus was standing there, holding a wrench, his expression almost apologetic. Yeah? Listen, about the jokes and stuff, we don't mean anything by it. You know that, right? Eli nodded. I know. It's just you're good at what you do. Really good. I've seen the work you do on your own time, the way you diagnose problems. You should be out here with us. Not cleaning bays. Thanks, Eli said. He meant it. Marcus was decent, kinder than most. Have you ever talked to Martha about it? About getting real assignments? Yeah, she says I'm valuable where I am. Marcus shook his head. That's messed up, man. It is what it is, doesn't have to be. But they both knew it did. Marcus went back to his bay, and Eli went back to organizing tools that were already organized. By the time 6 o'clock came around, his leg was screaming. He'd been on his feet for 10 hours, and the old injury always got worse when he was tired. He clocked out, waved goodbye to no one in particular, and stepped out into the Manhattan evening. The city was loud and bright and moving, always moving. He started the walk back to the boarding house, 16 blocks north and 3 blocks west. His limp was more pronounced now, each step a small negotiation with pain. People passed him on the sidewalk, fast and focused, their eyes on their phones or the distance ahead. Nobody looked at him. Nobody slowed down. That was fine. He preferred it that way. Mrs. Thompson's boarding house was a narrow brownstone squeezed between a bodega and a dry cleaner. 5 rooms, shared bathroom on each floor, kitchen privileges if you cleaned up after yourself. His room was on the 3rd floor, barely big enough for a twin bed, a dresser, and a small desk where he kept his books on engine repair. Mrs. Thompson herself was usually in the front parlor, watching her evening shows. She was 70-something. a widow who'd turned her home into a boarding house after her husband died. She charged fair rent and didn't ask too many questions. In his room he sat on the edge of the bed and slowly unlaced his boots. His right foot was swollen, the ankle puffy and hot to the touch. He massaged it gently, wincing. Tomorrow would be the same, and the day after that, and the day after that. But he'd get through it. He always did. He pulled out his phone and texted his mother. "Love you, Mama. Sleep well." Her reply came quickly. "Love you too, baby. So proud of you." He stared at those words for a long time. Then he turned off the light and lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the city outside his window, sirens and voices and the distant rumble of the subway beneath the street. Somewhere out there, people were living different lives, easier lives, lives where they didn't have to prove their worth every single day, where their bodies worked the way they were supposed to, where kindness wasn't something to be rationed carefully. But this was his life, and he'd make it work. He had to. The rain started just after 8 in the morning. Light at first, then steady. By 9, it was coming down hard enough to turn the street outside Hamilton Auto Works into a river of gray water and oil slicks. Eli was in the back, rotating tires on a Honda that had been sitting for 2 days. Slow work, methodical, the kind that didn't require him to move much. His leg was better today, not good, but better. The bell above the front entrance chimed. Through the bay door, he could see a man stepping into the waiting area, shaking rain from his coat. Mid-50s, maybe older, wearing a gray windbreaker and jeans. His hair was wet and pushed back from his face, and he moved with the kind of hurried energy that came from genuine worry. Lisa was at the front desk, typing something on her computer. She barely looked up. The man approached the counter. "Excuse me, I need help. My car, it died about 2 blocks from here. I tried to restart it, but nothing's working." Lisa held up one finger without looking at him. Finished typing, then glanced up with a practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, I was just driving and it stopped. I really need to get it running. My daughter, she's at Mount Sinai, He stopped, collected himself. "It's urgent, please. Sir, we work by appointment. If you want to schedule something, our next available slot is Thursday afternoon." "Thursday, that's 4 days from now." "Yes sir, we're very busy. Can't someone just take a look? I'll pay whatever you need. I just need to get to the hospital." "I was trying to get to the hospital. My daughter, she's sick and I need to get there, but my phone is dead and I can't call for a ride and there's no cabs." And he stopped, took a breath. Lisa's smile went flat. "Sir, I understand you're in a difficult situation, but we have a system. If we made exceptions for everyone, we'd have chaos." From the garage floor, Eli could hear every word. The man's voice had that edge to it, the kind that came from fear, not anger. He was desperate. Travis and Jake were by the coffee machine, half listening. Jake smirked. "Another guy who thinks his emergency is our problem." Travis shrugged. "Lisa'll send him away. She always does." Martha emerged from her office, drawn by the raised voices. She sized up the situation in a glance. Rumpled man in cheap coat, no appointment.